Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Escape Pod. My name is Sal.
My name's Josiah.
And mine's Nathan.
And my name's Thomas.
And my name's Prometheus.
You can't say that until, like, another half hour.
I'm sorry. This is the Lighthouse, everybody. We reviewed The Witch years ago when we first started.
Yeah, this is kind of like a homecoming, isn't it?
Yeah, so if you want to go watch The Witch, where it has a very hilarious bit by Nathan that I think is one of the best things ever on our show.
It's one of the biggest cucks he's ever received in his life.
I didn't like that movie. I need to rewatch it and rethink some of its merits.
You've seen it more than I have.
I know.
I've
seen it at least twice.
Possibly. I've seen it 3 times.
You've seen it 3 times, Sal. You've seen it twice, Nathan, because you're like, I want to check this again. I still have not seen it since theaters.
Yeah, I love The Witch.
I think the second time I was outrageously inebriated, so I was like, I didn't give myself.
That doesn't count.
But
me and Josiah waiting for Robert Eggers' next directorial film because.
Well, we thought it was going to be Nosferatu.
Yeah.
But that's apparently the next one after this.
And when I heard that, I was like, I'm excited for that. I just watched Nosferatu, and it's like, as much as I don't like The Witch, I think he's good at building houses.
Yeah. Because it's kind of interesting because I'm actually moved here to Washington to be with you boys 5 years ago. The day I saw The Witch, not The Witch. I saw The Lighthouse on Halloween, which is the day I moved here 5 years ago.
That's also true.
Back when where you used to live, when I came to go visit you, we saw the trailer for The Witch. We were both like really freaked out by it. And we were like, what the fuck is this movie?
We watched because there was the 2 trailers out.
Yeah,
and we watched them on YouTube, and I think we rewatched it like 3 times.
Yeah, we watched The Witch trailer like over and over. We're like, what the fuck is this?
We're like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it was just, and so we were, to say that he's very excited.
Yeah,
how did you feel about Lighthouse?
The Lighthouse,
and brief kind of like.
I think The Lighthouse is one of the best films of the year, for sure. Definitely in my top 5. I mean, we've had a lot of trash this year, so I think The Lighthouse in comparison.
What do you mean trash?
I mean, I could go down the list if you want.
No, that's okay.
There's a video of that.
Yes, exactly. So, The Lighthouse is a masterpiece of cinematography and atmosphere and acting, and I actually. Again, I haven't seen The Witch since theaters, and I just saw this, so maybe I need to evaluate the merits of both again. But I did like it more than The Witch in the end. I think The Witch has more of like a kind of like closure, I would say. Mm-hmm. Like the Lighthouse is definitely more ambiguous, but it actually ended up like working for me. It's weird how like in The Witch the character arcs are more like closed off and complete. But in this movie, it felt so much more like each character got
there's stuff in The Witch where like the dad is always whenever he's stressed, he goes and he chops wood, and at the end the wood collapses on him because it's piled so high. Stuff like that where it's like there's an arc that's followed through with some closure. Yeah,
and so this movie I did feel like a bit closer to the characters, but I think that's just because there was only 2.
Yeah,
so it was a lot easier to focus on them. Whereas in The Witch, I gotta say, like the younger kids were pretty lame. Yeah, honestly.
Yeah, they sucked.
And then I liked Thompson and I forget Caleb.
I just watched it.
And the dad, I like the dad, but I do feel like there wasn't as much development as he could have had. So I do think it was better than The Witch in my mind, but they're both great in my opinion, and I think it's a good follow-up. I think Robert Eggers is probably one of the premier talents we should follow his career with great interest.
Nathan, how'd you feel?
I'd mostly agree. I need it again. I want to see it again, preferably do it back to back with The Witch. But but preferably, I would say my initial reaction was obviously a lot more positive because I was seething after I saw The Witch. I think I messaged you boys immediately. It was like, what a waste of my fucking time.
Yeah, you were mad after The Witch.
Yeah, no, I felt gypped.
You can't say it.
But I felt chipped.
That's what he said. That's what he said.
But I liked it a lot more. I love Willem Dafoe.
I
really love Robert Pattinson in this. I know. Again, we were talking about it beforehand, but he he's a really good actor. He's just been sidled with Twilight, which he knows is bad.
Which he's done so many films since the end of Twilight.
I know. He also did that one film where the end of it, the twist was that he was in the World Trade Center, and it was really, really bad. So
Robert Pattinson's
he's a great actor.
He literally him and Kirsten Stewart took the Twilight money and said, "Cool, I can now just be in indie films that I care about for the next 10 years of my life."
Yeah,
and then they did that, and it's been great. Now finally, Robert Pattinson's come back into the limelight, quote unquote, giant quote unquote.
Well, because he's gonna play a this was his big thing. He's playing a minor character called Batman.
Yeah,
but I think
that's like some of the weird like picture books, right?
That's one of those things from the 30s,
right? Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I used to watch the show as a kid.
Yeah.
Is Joker still Spanish?
Oh.
I mean, Joaquin. So anyway,
but yeah, I think the opening shot of them like setting up the lighthouse and just having the really long shots to show you how cramped the space is. Robert Pattinson like selling his ass off, just kind of looking around in mild like confusion and disgust. That shot where he's getting ready on the bed, and it's like a shot from just outside the room, so that looks there's a divide between the two beds.
Yeah.
And then after like a minute, you finally see that Willem Dafoe was unpacking in that divide area. So I really liked it.
Yeah.
I feel like the ending felt kind of Darren Aronofsky-ish.
It did.
Where it was like, but
there's a bit where,
course.
Spoilers, where Willem Dafoe's being like led like a dog, where I was like, Antichrist was a movie.
Yeah, no, it did remind me of that.
And the seagull and the cistern chirping. I was like, it's like the fox.
It definitely does share the DNA of some other things. I know that the movie had a special thanks to Ari Aster, who did Hereditary and that. And I'm like, Robert Eggers is like the better version of Ari Aster.
Films that I've not seen.
Yeah.
Because he did Hereditary and Midsummer between The Witch and The Lighthouse.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
which I'm not saying that you need to always take your time to be a great director, but
I think the proof
is in the pudding.
They're definitely peers, but I like Eggers more.
I haven't seen his stuff. Ari Aster stuff yet. I haven't seen it, so I can't affirm or deny.
Well, we'll get into like some. I want to talk about some other stuff, but you need to talk about your overall thoughts.
Yeah.
Oh, who, me?
Yeah.
I don't know if I liked it.
Oh, there you go.
I don't know.
That's so funny. Subverted again. So Nosferatu, I'm not going to like it, and you guys are going to love it.
No. Okay. I'll go down the list.
Yeah.
And hopefully the pizza won't go off while I'm talking. I'm cooking pizza because I'm Italian. But,
this is literally like his third for the week. So
listen, they were half off. All right. They're fucking cheap. Leave me alone. Anyway, so I hope that is all. That's all then. Oh, hey, the pizza.
It will be.
Hey, Google, stop.
You're telling me you don't like my pizza? You love my pizza.
You're just fucking pizza.
I like your pizza.
I can't wait till someone makes YouTube poops of the Lighthouse.
Dude, I want to be there day fucking one.
Because, like, Willem Dafoe's, like, what feels like 5-minute speech cursing Robert Pattinson, I feel like you could make that at least twice as long, and you wouldn't be able to tell because you would just cycle the words. It's like, no, he may have repeated that. I don't remember.
Or you just keep inserting, like, shots of Robert Pattinson's face.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And well, there it is. I will say that, like, I get, like, the whole point of the movie is that we don't know the truth of what the lighthouse is.
Yeah.
Like, it's supposed to represent, like, ultimate knowledge or ultimate pleasure. Or
very, very Cthulhu, Lovecraft kind of.
I kind of wish there was, like, more weird shit, but I guess...
Same.
But I guess there was a lot of weird shit.
It was, well... Because there's the...
Because, the scene with, like, so when it started, and you get that scene with the seagull kind of being the rabbit or Black Phillip from The Witch, or the fox from Antichrist or whatever. And then that whole storyline happens, and then you get the mermaid appearing. And I'm like, oh, so, like, more and more shit's gonna appear. Kind of. Like, a little bit, like, you see some tentacles, and you get that great bit with Willem Dafoe embodying the lighthouse and, like, holding...
Best shot of the whole movie.
Yeah, that shot's really good. It looks like a Renaissance painting.
So Sal, I saw this. Joe didn't. But did you see three guys fucking when Robert Pattinson was looking up into the lighthouse area?
No.
Okay.
Let me remind you, Nathan, you were more sauced than I was.
Yeah, but I was focused. I was hyper.
I'm not saying you weren't focused. I'm saying that, I didn't see three guys fucking.
Everyone go watch The Lighthouse. I swear to God, when Robert Pattinson's looking up through the boards at the light. There's like 3 guys lying, spooning threefold. And
spooning threefold,
going at it, and I was like, "What the fuck was that?" And then that's right when ooze started coming down.
I saw Willem Dafoe jerking off.
Well, yeah, I saw that too.
The Lighthouse. I like the cinematography. I think it's an incredibly well shot movie. I think that everything looks amazing. I love the aspect ratio, the color.
Yeah,
it feels like an old movie done with like modern spice to it.
Yeah, sure.
Which is what I wanted out of it. Mark Corvin did an amazing job with the score again. I mean, I listened to the Vivid score like on all the fucking time.
I didn't even realize it was the same guy, but
it was. Yeah,
I gotta say that the very unique Lighthouse bell
that fucking bell, dude,
was so good.
That bell, sound design out of the fucking world, amazing, like really fucking good. The acting was above Oscar worthy, and of course, like it's all fucking really well done. I'm the kind of person who I don't like see allegory and stuff that I watch really until it's like pointed out to me after the fact.
You mean Mother?
Like when I saw Mother, I got fucking none of that because I just don't think that way.
Sure,
that for some reason my brain doesn't click with that kind of stuff. One time it does happen is when I make a joke about it, and then it happens, and I'm like, oh, I was kidding.
Yeah.
There's that new game, The Beast Within, where I made a joke like, oh, it's like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde at the end. It's like, oh, Mr. Hyde, and I'm like, I actually was kidding. And stuff like that. Where like I don't like when afterwards I was looking up trivia because the film ended and I was sitting there and I was watching Robert Pattinson be picked out, and I'm like, what? I don't.
Well, see, the funny thing is, for this movie, I wasn't really reading him as Prometheus, but then when I saw the final shot, I was like, oh, he's Prometheus. That's the thing about this movie is, like, I'm sure, like, the allegory is there, but it's such, like, a basic version of the Prometheus story that I don't think the allegory is really a major part of the movie.
And I talk about that, too. Like, they talk about Prometheus and stuff like that.
But the difference is Prometheus brought us fire and was punished. He didn't do anything. He was selfishly trying to take it for himself.
So for me, I'm like, I watched this movie and I'm like, everything about it works for me on such a fucking like visceral level of like everything works, and I don't know why it's not working for me because it feels like a movie that I should love. It feels like the Vivitch. I look at the Vivitch and I'm like, this hits every fucking thing for me.
Yeah. So you're saying that like the whole is not the sum of its parts.
Yeah.
That, like if you took everything, like separated its context, it's like, oh, that's genius.
Like there's something in the film. There's something in the pizza that's moldy.
I think
I'm not sure where it is.
I think what it is honestly just when you get to that final scene where Robert Pattinson just goes mad when he looks at the lighthouse. Like I get not showing what's in the lighthouse, but it's like because no matter he immediately just dies, and it's like, oh,
yeah, that felt very like.
Like, I get that's the point, but I would have preferred, like, a cyclical, like, somebody else comes and then he's the new Willem Dafoe.
That's what I expected.
Well, because, like, Ron Pence, like, what's his arc? What's his drive to look into the lighthouse? Cool, he does that, but, like...
Well, not at first.
Because if you don't show that, which they didn't do, if you don't show that, we're like, oh, well, what is it? And you can get two people from that. Either, oh, well, like, it's kind of what you make of it. Other people are like, what the fuck's in the lighthouse? Why didn't you show it?
Yeah.
And then if you did show it, then you have the reverse of that, where it's like, I felt like at the end there when I opened the lighthouse and looked inside, no matter what, someone was disappointed by this movie.
Oh, absolutely.
Like I remember I imagined in the theater like tentacles coming out and like grabbing him, like pulling him into the lighthouse, and like it like shuts behind him and it just is like just a wide shot of the lighthouse. That's how I was thinking of it going. Because like what I was assuming for the film was that like the lighthouse calls the sirens or the mermaids, or whatever you want to call them. I'll call them sirens because I like that. But the lighthouse calls them there. And, like, I thought the film would go a route where, like, Willem Dafoe has, like, a deal with them to let the ships pass safely.
I mean, maybe that is what it is. Like, I guess.
But, like, I don't know. And that's the thing is that, like, I'm like, with the Vivitch, I'm like, okay, I get that, like, the witch was fucking with the family and that, like, the devil wanted to bring her to a point where she'd accept it and become part of his coven or whatever. And then, because she has nothing else to live for, she does that. And I'm like, cool, I get it. Cool, got it, awesome. With this, I'm like, why? But why? And it's like, but it's what you make of it. But I'm like, but why though?
See, the thing is that I think the reason it is unsatisfying is we see that Willem Dafoe has killed someone who was previously there, all to hold on to the lighthouse. So what that tells me is, okay, regardless of what the lighthouse is, he is like obsessed with it to the point of like jacking off in front of it. Like this, if it's ultimate power, knowledge, just it's like a mermaid that just fucks you up there. Whatever it is. But the fact that Robert Pattinson then looks into it and then just goes mad and then dies, it's like, well, then why didn't that happen to Willem Dafoe?
And then someone or something drags him out of the lighthouse.
Yes.
After he had fallen down a fucking narrow, sharp flight of stairs. That's rounded, by the way. I don't know if that would help or hurt, but, he'll hurt. And then what was so weird about that last scene is that, like, well, who brought him outside to get pecked at?
The seagulls, I guess. That, I don't know. Like, I'm not saying that it's like a good answer.
Because we can't know, because then we'd be writing the film for it, but, like...
I just don't get why Willem Dafoe didn't go mad and die.
I just kind of wish that
he's pretty fucking crazy.
But then why didn't that happen with Robert Pattinson? Like, that's the weird thing about it.
Well, I think what made it work for me, as soon as I saw that Willem Dafoe was like obsessively protective of the light, I was like, okay, this is Lovecraft. Like, you can't see this, your brain explodes, crazy stuff.
Yeah, but his brain didn't explode. He slipped, I think.
Yeah, I think that's honestly what I think. If he just hadn't slipped and fallen, he would have been the new Willem Dafoe.
And see, I don't even like, as much as I kind of don't like the slipping and falling, I could see it as like an ironic, like, you finally got it, and then like. But I wanted him to slip and fall for like a reason that was established earlier.
Honestly,
like,
if I was editing this movie, I would totally just have it. He looks into the lighthouse, it goes white, movie ends.
No, yeah, like
honestly, that is like a way better ending than like he falls and then he's just outside and then birds are eating him, because it's like the Prometheus allegory isn't even that strong.
Yeah, because like when he fell, I was like, he fell, but I was also like, okay, well. All right, and then it cuts to him outside. Then all I had was more questions. I'm like,
sure.
When he sees the lighthouse, whatever's inside of it, and we can infer whatever we want to infer from it, because that's the kind of movie it is. And I could just do that, like I said, like I thought, like it was this and this and this and this and this. Then like the cut to him like suddenly outside after falling down the stairs after Willem Dafoe's been dead, no relief is coming. It just made me kind of like I don't know, maybe question more than I needed to, or if he just fell down the stairs. Or if you look in the lighthouse and just cut the white and fell down, cut the black, I would be a bit more like okay with it, because it ends with that like shot. And it's a good shot.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm saying is that like everything works and then it doesn't. I don't know, maybe it's overly allegorical. Maybe I just
I see like,
or maybe it's not. But like
but it's not, because like I feel like.
I'm just trying to find that middle ground of like, all right, where do I stop trying to infer?
But see, Mother is like, if you take Mother, for example, that is like almost entirely allegory. Yeah. Whereas this movie feels like we just had some really good like themes and character development and ambiguity. And oh, by the way, it was about Prometheus. Did he try to bring the lighthouse to mankind? No, not really.
He wanted to kill someone else and have it for himself.
He just wanted to have it for himself. Are you saying that this is like what actually the Prometheus story is? But that's not what I'm... It's not like Beowulf, where it's like, no, the story of Beowulf was a lie. He actually fucked Grendel's mom, and so, like, the legend of him is just, like, to save face, but I don't feel like the movie is getting at that. So I don't think it's too allegorical. I think it's just a little half-baked on that end.
I think it's allegorical enough to make me, as a person who doesn't enjoy that, feel a bit confused. Because I'm like, well, where do I draw the line? like, what scenes do I see as allegory, and what scenes do I see as just characters develop? Because, like, all the stuff of them, like, just talking and interacting and working and, suck my fucking dick, daddy. Like, I love it. Mm-hmm. Like, and then, I don't know, it just hits a part where I'm like, why did he call him a dog? Did he rape him when he told him to I don't know. What happened here? Why?
That made sense to me, because the whole movie is like this kind of masculine battle between Willem Dafoe treating him like a slave and being dominant over him, and then once Robert Pattinson's character basically is going to go take the power of the lighthouse, he forces him into the subservient role, and it just takes on the weird aspect. Because, like, Robert Pattinson's character is not a good guy. He's, like, killed people. He assumes different identities, and he's on the run. So he's probably done a lot of fucked up shit. So, like, I just assume that was, like, more showing that Robert Pattinson's fury and anger finally came out, and he just is, like, literally treating someone like an animal. That just because he, like, that didn't really bother me. You can say it's just like weird for weirdness' sake, but it
feels like it's a bit weird for weirdness' sake.
But I mean, to me, it made sense in the character arcs.
Because he calls him a dog, tells him to get up, puts leash on him, brings him outside, puts him in a grave, buries him as he gives a speech, and then walks away. And I'm like, but he's still alive in there.
Yeah, that was a little weird.
I'm like, why didn't you like fill it up completely and then like have a shot of like the ground being like disturbed but like covered up again? Because then if he comes back later, it's like, well, is Willem Dafoe alive?
Sure.
Is he dead still? Is this like Robert Pattinson? Like, because he sees Willem Dafoe as Willem Dafoe, and then as the person he killed, and then as the mermaid, and then as Willem Dafoe as like the Sea King with like Brian and Barnacles and shit. And then it gets back to normal on the phone. I'm like,
I mean, well, maybe the movie's saying that like he was never totally human. He was always like half fish person, and that's why he can look into the lighthouse. And Robert Pattinson's just a regular guy because
I don't know.
Because like there's the bit where like tentacles are around Willem Dafoe, and at first you're like, oh, there's something up there, and then it's like, no, it's him, because there's a scene where he's like Robert Pattinson's beating it up, and then tentacles come out, but then he like appears as other people, and I assumed that it was all just because he was crazy, but I guess no, like that was actually Willem Dafoe shapeshifting. Because
when I never thought of it as him shapeshifting up in the light. I always saw it as like the siren like fucking him basically.
But it was the old man, the old King Triton or whatever, and he was fucking him, and I was like, oh god.
All right.
I mean, there is a lot of homoerotic tension in the movie. So,
oh yeah.
Like
there's a lot.
It makes sense.
They almost kiss, and I was like, "Are we gonna go there?" I got a little excited.
Then Robert Pattinson was weirded out by it.
Yeah.
Well, then because like they dance and they get drunk and they sing and they dance and they almost kiss and they get into a fight and then they're cuddling and I'm like, yeah, they're gay.
No, I have to correct you on something. Get drunk? No. They just stay drunk for like who knows how many weeks. Who knows? Days.
The moment Robert Pattinson's character's like, I don't drink, I'm like, he's gonna drink.
Oh, absolutely,
yeah. No, there's the bit where Willem Dafoe's like, how long have we been here? Days, weeks? And I'm like, don't do this.
There's so many bits where Willem Dafoe like tries to make it seem like this is a mindfucking movie.
But maybe it is.
Like,
maybe Robert Pattinson really did destroy the boat, and Willem Dafoe was innocent. I don't know.
Because I saw a Facebook video of the script, where I know the characters both named Thomas.
Yes.
But in the script, they're called Old and Young. And I kind of thought, like, does that mean, like, maybe they're the same person, or they're...
Well, there was that...
Or they're at different stages of their lives, or...
Well, that's why I think at the end, if he had just... It had been the cyclical nature of time, and he had become the new Willem Dafoe, it would have been like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
Because like there's that bit where they find the duplicate of Robert Pattinson
up
at the lighthouse, and I was like, wait a minute, because that's when I like knew like, oh wait, no, that's when I was thinking like, no, for some reason like this is like a time thing, and like Willem Dafoe was him, and I was like, no, but it was just, I think that was just foreshadowing that he would eventually get up to the top of the lighthouse. I don't know.
I had a lot of questions here. All right, I just like this kind of divulged into like help me understand the movie.
Yeah, I mean
and I took it from a purely like no allegory at all level. So for me, it was just Robert Pattinson slowly losing his mind, and the ending is basically the payoff of his two mindsets. One being obsessed with, oh, there's something weird with this light, I have to see it, I have to figure out what it is, and the other half being like, supernatural stuff's bullshit, like seagulls are sailors, that's really dumb, and then it's like, well, you experience more knowledge than you can understand, and then the seagulls came back to kill you.
Because even the lighthouse could be or it could be like a symbolic thing of like, as much as he knows that Willem Dafoe's character is like kind of like a liar and a drunk and like, I said liar twice, but anyway,
and then you were emphasizing the liar, and he's like, no, trust the liar,
but he also like he says he trusts him, and he clearly like kind of respects him. Whether or not it's sexual or not, there is love there.
I think it's just that when you put two people isolated for a long enough period of time, they will go through every possible variation of a relationship.
Yeah.
Because they're like best friends, they're like father and son, they're brothers, they're lovers, they're enemies, they're like primal forces. I mean, that's how I understood it. It's like they basically went through every possible version of their relationship.
So maybe like taking the lighthouse, it's like showing that he's like grown up or like.
Well, I mean, they made like Edgar's made a point of saying like, yeah, we were gonna have a shot of the lighthouse where it like was compared to Robert Pattinson's dick, and we decided it was too on the nose, and so we cut that. And I'm like,
oh wow,
yeah, they were literally gonna cut from like the lighthouse going up and then going up his penis or something. And I'm like, thank you for not doing that.
No, I wish I saw that.
Yeah, they were gonna make it more explicit, like okay, like the lighthouse is like the ultimate masculine power or whatever.
And it could be also the fact that like within the lighthouse, even though he's fucking like a mer person. Fucking tentacles. He's inside flesh. He's fucking something, and he has that like statue carving that he made of the mermaid, and it's like,
well, no, did he make that, or I always assumed it was the previous owner of that bunk.
Same,
because he finds it in the bed.
Oh, so I saw that. Yeah. So what I saw that as, he hid it in there.
Well,
because that was the first
because he looks at it quizzically, I thought. That's how I interpret it.
I saw it as he's like...
Well, because to me, he could have hidden it there, but the fact that Robert Pattinson in the previous scenes is like, oh, I don't believe in this, and then he... Or I don't remember exactly how the scenes go, but it's not till after he finds it that he, like, begins to see shit.
Because I imagine that, like, he made it when he was back, when he chopped down trees and and whatever, and he sculpted it, or, like, carved it, Hawkeye Ghost style, and just made a little thing. Yeah, or maybe he did find.
To me, I know for a fact he was sitting, and then he was like kind of digging through the stuffing. For a second I thought that he had like sat on it, and went, oh, there's something weird. Digs in this hole and goes.
See, for me, I guess if you like sit down in your bunk, find that you kind of pull out one tuft and go, fuck. But he pulls out more to get to it. So I thought when I watched the film that he hid it away there.
Do we ever see him put it back?
No.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is if he had put it back, I probably would have gone with that interpretation. But yeah, I just assumed that he found because I was trying to figure out like what had happened with the previous guy, because we find out that Willem Dafoe killed him. What I assumed, because when I got to the end of the movie, I assumed it was the same cyclical arc where the person wanted the lighthouse and then Willem Dafoe had to kill them because he was fucking mermaids again. And so when Robert Pattinson starts fucking mermaids and disrespecting the sea, he's like, oh, well, you're gonna pay for that.
Because when he finds the body out in the water, I assumed that at first that he had like been lured out by a mermaid and drowned.
Yeah,
because of assuming that the carving was his. Again, I have to watch it again.
Yeah,
I mean, granted, I was a little out of it, but a lot of what you guys brought up, I was like, oh
yeah, no, there's a lot going on. This movie, I want to like meme it because I totally want to do the lighthouse, but every time Robert Pattinson slams the seagull down, something plays, and it's because he does it like 30 times. And then I also want to do. I already mentioned that the Willem Dafoe monologue looped, so you can't tell when it ends and when it begins.
Well, you have it be
or Robert Pattinson viciously masturbating, but you intercut different images, so it's like.
Yeah, no, I think I said you have the scene in American Psycho where Patrick Bateman is like checking himself out in the mirror at 30% opacity as Robert Pattinson is like furiously trying to jack off.
Yeah, so and he like can't.
I think you have Robert Pattinson jacking off and you intercut the witch matching with the baby.
Oh god!
And you match the clapping.
Oh, I mean that was the first scene Robert Pattinson shot because it's the classic when you're on a set and they're like, "We're gonna start with the weirdest shit, most uncomfortable shit first before we all know each other. That way it'll be easier." And then it's like, "Well, Robert Eggers was surprised at how furiously I was masturbating," and it's like, "Well, he shouldn't be."
We see him after, so
because he's full of rage and pain, you know.
Yeah,
like Robert Pattinson's
all rage.
All rage and pain. I guess like you made some good points about how, I guess when I think about it more, like the ending,
there's a lot of unresolved.
There's a lot of unresolved threads, which you can still resolve and keep it ambiguous.
Yeah, because I can definitely see it as like the idea of what's inside the lighthouse or what it means or why it's there. So many different like meanings behind it that you can interpret.
Yeah,
because like I kind of saw it as maybe he keeps the sea safe because of it. Maybe like he has a deal. I don't know, or like it is knowledge. It is light. It is just sex. Or I think it's probably just sex, honestly.
But just like the most extreme.
Oh yeah, well
because
that goop was so viscous.
Oh yeah, it just fries his brain
and it's dick.
And his dick. Oof.
Seagull
just eat. This last scene should have been the seagull biting his penis, and then he's like, "Oh!"
Well, no, you see the Robert Pattinson lighthouse dick made me think. You see, it turns out all along that Robert Pattinson was a sperm, and like right as he was about to win the race, he fails.
No, you see, I think that's a valid interpretation. I mean, and that's why they fight, because they're fighting over who gets to impregnate. That's a really. Someone's going to write a paper on that, and you started it here first.
Yeah.
You heard it here first, folks.
You heard it here first.
Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe are just sperm, and the lighthouse is a penis, and the lighthouse light is just whoever gets to impregnate it.
Like when they're dancing, they have the potential to be twins.
That's what it is. It's twins fighting in the womb.
Yeah, it's twins, and then one of them like eats the other, and then, Oh, God, that's such a darker interpretation than is already in a dark film. That's really good.
How long have we been in this womb? 2 days?
Oh,
2 weeks?
It depends how blue his balls are, to be honest. Because it is kind of a sea, it's a swirling mass that's just inside the...
That's true.
Because we never see anything outside that rock, so, it makes a lot of sense.
I want you guys to discuss the siren.
I wanted to fuck her, I guess.
I wasn't ready for explicit fishgina.
I forgot.
That was a lot.
It's because it's not just, because they pan down the whole thing, and then it's not just and it's here. It's, here's Robert Pattinson, spreading her open so you get a really good...
And it just, throbs.
Does that happen?
Yeah, no, well, I don't... Does he spread it, or... I think it's just...
It might just be his hands on either side of it.
It's his hands, on either side, and then it, because it's, panning down, I thought it, cut to something, their faces, and then cut back, and it was just fishgina. And I was like, oh!
Yeah.
Okay. You couldn't have kept it a little ambiguous. No,
it's because that was Robert Eggers going fuck everyone that says you can't possibly fuck a mermaid because they don't have anything.
It's fish have vaginas, don't they?
Yeah. I think Robert Eggers saw what won the Oscars the other year and said, you know what? Why don't actually show the fucking?
Yeah, he was like, wait a minute, Guillermo del Toro was too weak. He couldn't show what I've shown. You didn't show Doug Jones' penis? Well, I'm going to show fish vagina. There you go. Get fucked.
Checkmate, bitch.
Checkmate.
Del Toro was like, "That's not fair. You used CGI. I would have had to actually show."
What if that was a practical fish vagina?
It might have been practical.
It could have been.
It was a very realistic throb. It pulsed.
Technology is an amazing thing.
So is. I just want to say, I wonder if people watching this movie after this movie came out, if the number of certain searches for certain porn content, mermaids, maybe even a classic film from your youth, The Little Mermaid.
I didn't get that.
I didn't want Disney to sue me.
That's gross, man.
Well, and not in the sequel.
What are the laws in
she's not the Little Mermaid,
but she still becomes one.
No. What are the mermaid laws on premarital sex? Is that or underage sex?
See, because King Triton is in both films, so I thought it was perfect.
Right.
So is this canon to the Little Mermaid?
I think so as well. But she wasn't black though, so it doesn't really.
Okay,
but it was black and white, so
and white. See, it's always the white people. There's not one black person in Lighthouse. Racist.
This is a racist film. There's a cast of 2 people who are ambiguously the same person.
I'm gonna say they're both white men.
And the guy he killed was white too.
Wow, see that?
And the mermaid was white.
But if they were black, you're saying that black guys are sexually frustrated and can't express themselves?
You literally just can't.
What an awful.
Well, no, you can't.
These fucking people.
Just check, niggas. You fucking people. But yeah, overall, I thought I think I need to see the Vivitch and this again, but even regardless of the flaws, I still think this is in the top 5 best films of the year.
I would say so.
Yeah, I mean, we got Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, El Camino, Joker, this, and then Endgame.
No, it doesn't deserve to be up there.
I'd put it in the meh category.
Endgame isn't that good.
That's not really that good.
I like the first act and the last act. Some of.
I like the scenes where I can't see Thor.
That is valid.
Those are good scenes.
I think if you took all the Thor scenes, percentage-wise, they would be worse than any other scene in the movie.
That's the edit I need to work on. Endgame de-Thored.
That would be a blessing.
He just shows up at the end. Fight.
but I'll include the half of the conversation that it doesn't contribute to. So you're like, who the fuck are you talking to?
Thor's mom's talking to Rocket. Anyway, that was our discussion on The Lighthouse. Feel free to talk about what you interpreted from the film. Honestly, I know you were kind of joking, but that whole thing about them being sperm, I think that might be a reading on it.
I mean, they died. What happens to sperm that don't make it?
Yeah.
So something.
Because he fails to jerk off several times in the movie. So I think it's a very, very good read.
And it's like a subversion. Willem Dafoe is obviously so far ahead. He's getting it on the regular, but then they both fail. It's
if Willem Dafoe had just let them both try, they may have succeeded. Yeah. But he refused.
No, Robert Pattinson.
So Willem Dafoe was the sperm who didn't want to leave because he was he liked hovering there, waiting, but he was waiting for the right womb, but he should have just gone.
He was the pre-cum,
Oh.
So something glorious and victorious came out of the lighthouse. We just weren't following the story.
Huh. Maybe Robert Eggers should make a movie just called Sex, and then it's like they see the lighthouse is actually canon.
He needs to get just more and more explicit and direct.
No. It turns out that the lighthouse is actually Caleb's dick from the Vivitch, and because he's like he's a preteen, he doesn't like.
Oh no!
It is interesting that there's Thomason as a main character of the Vivitch.
Yeah,
and they're both named Thomas in this movie.
I do think I did catch on to that. I was like, I feel like he has some kind of thing with doubting Thomas from the Bible,
yeah.
or something like
also, the seagull's blind to one eye, kind of like Odin.
That's. Okay.
I'm just gonna set that argument aside.
That's from the sperm guy?
Yeah, well, that was genius.
No, kidding me?
Fuck you. I thought it was pretty good. Again, I need to see it because Sal made very good points.
Thank you.
What the fuck is this shit?
Wow, wait, guys, I was on the end of I don't like it that much.
You've been wanting. You've been like I've been liking everything. I need something.
Well, no, it's like the It video where we're like. Oh, that's a very good point.
Well, see, now it's our turn. So next movie, we gotta be.
That's gonna be Dr. Sleep. I guarantee you. I have a prediction that I'm gonna be like, Dr. Sleep fucking sucks. And you'll be like, no, it was actually good. And I'll be like, when I read the book,
I probably will too.
I know.
By that point. Anyway,
you got a few days.
So I thought it was pretty good. I need to see it again to be sure.
It's a sad state of affairs that I think it's pretty good. And it's one of the best of the year.
Yeah, that's kind of sad.
That's pretty depressing. But, you know.
I don't hate it.
No.
Don't.
That was so good. Because it was like, I can't tell if he's chewing or if he's actually done.
I was like, all right, he's going to say I don't hate it, I don't love it. Or when you waited a little bit longer, I was like, okay, he's going to say I don't hate it, I don't like it.
Again, it's every individual piece is good. But not the whole product.
Yeah.
I mean, everything about it is just great. I just didn't gel for me.
Yeah.
And maybe another watching. Maybe it can like really sit down.
Watch it with subtitles.
That too.
I was telling Joe when we were leaving. Again, I was a bit inebriated, so the process for me was like, okay, they got kind of accents and they're kind of speaking older English. Not really.
Because they both have different accents, but at first you're not really sure what Robert Patterson's accent is, because he doesn't really talk much in the opening. Then he has a bit where he kind of like goes off on him about stuff. You're kind of like, oh.
It's apparently like a Maine sailor accent.
Yeah. But so for me, I was like, okay, I'm like a half second behind because I'm mentally translating. But then there's moments where they talk and talk and talk a lot. I'm like 5 seconds behind translating this conversation, and I've just lost it. I don't know what they're saying.
No.
So that was fun.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
for listening to the Escape Pod
so
discussion.
Glad thank you for watching our content.
I thought you were going to say something else, Sperm.
No.
Thank you.
So glad we're all getting off some great content.
Getting it out, getting it off, jacking in.
Squeezing some content out.
Ah!